what she saw tonight, give us an update on how the other two people are doing. So we'll check with Emily in a moment. And we're also going to talk about that amazing SpaceX flight that is now sending 4 amateurs up into space without a professional astronaut on board. It is a stunning scene. We're going to show you a little bit of that. But let's begin tonight by talking about the forecast. And Sean, really, this was a beautiful day today. I mean, just perfect weather, but a lot of people still talking about how much rain we had last night.
Well, you know, this time last night, many folks were, at least in the central part of the state, east central part of the state, were just getting buried.
Yeah.
And we took a big hit here around parts of the metro area.
Right.
I'm going to show you the radar rain estimates with some ground truth. Some parts of Johnson County near and above 2 inches of rain. And then back over into Hendricks County, right along I-70 over into Rush County. Much needed, I might add. We didn't want it with any severe weather. We had some pockets of flooding and some wind damage, but overall, this was just what the doctor ordered here. And so, yeah, this is what's going on as we expand out, and we've talked about this for a couple of days, that not everywhere we would have widespread heavy rain, but still, we will definitely take this. Now we're flipping the script. Wind is from the north. We are down into the 60s already. And if you've been outside this evening, you know that the MUGGY meter has dropped, especially up in northern. Look at Lafayette's dew point at 48. So, you know, when we get up to 70, and we were close to that yesterday, that's the air you can wear.
Right.
So this is much better. This is a gauge for how your low temperatures can be. So I think we are going to have some patchy fog tomorrow morning, but look at some of these temperatures out the door to start out Thursday. Now again, might be some fog around early on. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a really nice, you know, let's call it what it is. One of those days where if you want to go ahead and, let's play a little hooky, go ahead, go ahead. We are going to make it into the lower 80s, a little warmer. Radar perspective, the rain that we got last night, by the way, that's going to be our last shot of organized widespread rain, probably until the middle of next week. There's Nicholas down across the Gulf Coast. We'll talk about that at 11 o'clock. And but we're going to be fairly quiet, and we're going to heat up too. This is our coolest night that we'll have for a bit. Temperatures are warming up going into the weekend.
All right, Joyce saying love the temperatures right now. Yeah, Anastasia nice. From Syracuse apparently had a lot of rain last night there in Syracuse, New York. Jackie from McCordsville tonight. We've got Glenn checking in. Wes is with us tonight. Emily watching along with Teresa. Tanya saying that she's watching from Frankfurt. We've got Teresa from Indy. Wally from Brownsburg tonight. Wilbur joining us tonight saying good evening. Monica from Lafayette. It is great to have all of you here on Facebook Live. Hey, did you hear the SpaceX? This rocket that went up tonight. We got to go ahead and show this video to you because this thing was amazing. The launch from Cape Canaveral. And what's amazing about this is that the 4 people on board this rocket, they're all amateurs. There's not a professional astronaut on board. But tonight they are in orbit after blasting off. There were a couple of contest winners, a healthcare worker, and a rich sponsor. This is the first time a rocket has streaked into orbit with an all-amateur crew on board. Again, no professionals on this, and this is all being controlled by the experts there at SpaceX out in California. They're going to circle the world 15 times a day. They're going to be up in orbit higher than the International Space Station, higher than the Hubble telescope.
How long are they going to be up there?
3 days.
For 3 days.
3 days. What an amazing ride. So they're going to be splashing down in the Atlantic in 3 days, but we had to show you that video.
They're braver than me. You know, you and I have had this discussion.
Yeah.
You would do that in a heartbeat.
I would do it in a heartbeat. If Elon Musk calls me right now and says, Scott, we're putting you on the next rocket, I am walking out of this TV station and flying down there and getting on that ship.
We need you here.
I don't think Elon Musk is going to be calling me up. Would you do this? Let us know here in the comments section tonight.
I have a fear, you know, it's well known, my fear of heights, and I'd have to watch from the surface, brother. I would root you on, though, I would.
Yeah, anyway, it looks amazing to me. I mean, I think if I had it to do over again, and if I was a lot smarter, I'd be an astronaut. But now, I mean, you could be an average citizen and go up there if you've got the contacts or the money.
A lot of money, yes. Do we know what the price tag, even in the ballpark?
What they're doing is they're giving, the person that's really rich on this is giving $100 million to St. Jude Research Children's Hospital.
Wow.
And one of the people on board is a woman who's a former cancer survivor. Well, she is a cancer survivor.
Yes.
And so she's up there. And so it's going to be an amazing story over the next 3 days to watch
All
this.
right. Well, 3 days, man in orbit. That's something else.
It's pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and turn our attention to the big story of the night. Emily Longnecker joining us tonight. She was at that scene of that vigil. This 7-year-old girl who was struck and killed by a car last night in the crosswalk. Em, tell us about the scene tonight there at that vigil for this little girl.
Well, you know, Scott, this is a community that's heartbroken, of course, a day later. Still devastated, still processing this unbelievable loss, as they called it tonight. There was a few hundred people out there tonight to remember 7-year-old Hannah Crutchfield. And many of them were parents. And it was really the kind of gathering I couldn't help watching, that the parents that were just pulling their own children close, thinking about the loss of this family. Amazingly, in the crowd was the crossing guard, who was also hit yesterday, along with Hannah and her mom. Mike Sykes is his name. We spoke to him a little earlier this afternoon. He didn't want to go on camera, and he didn't want to go on camera tonight, but he was there in the crowd wearing an arm sling, and he is a dad himself. He has 3 kids, ages 9, 4, and 1. So he was there with his wife, and his wife, you know, told us that her husband is absolutely devastated. He's heartbroken himself at the loss of this little girl who he had, you know, come to know over his time working there as a crossing guard. A lot of parents out there tonight talking about how fast the cars go in the area. They live in the Irvington area, many of them, and many calling for something to be done, more patrolling, anything that can, you know, make folks slow down and take a moment. So just a pretty heart-wrenching scene out there tonight. A lot of tears for the little kids, and a lot of tears for their parents.
Yeah. I know it's still early in the investigation, and we don't know how Hannah's mom is doing. She was, as you mentioned, also hit in that crosswalk. What are police saying at this point in terms of what led up to this crash, and what do we know about the investigation?
So what we know is that there was some kind of incident, disturbance is what police called it, some kind of incident between 2 cars coming down Washington Street, right? So they're coming down Washington Street and they get to Ritter Avenue. And police are saying one of the cars stops there at Washington and Ritter and gently bumps another car that was there, stopped there at that intersection. Then the other car that was coming down Washington Street keeps on going, and it collides with a car that was coming down Ritter. So that second car coming down Washington Street collided with another car coming down Ritter. And those are the 2 cars then that hits Hannah, her mom, and the crossing guard in the crosswalk. So.
All right, Emily, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed on your story. We'll look forward to watching that vigil tonight, and all the people that were there remembering that 7-year-old who was killed last night. Thank you again for joining us here on Facebook, my friend.
Of course.
All right, so there's Emily Longnecker. She'll be joining us tonight on 13 News at 11. Want to go also talk about a much lighter story tonight. You know, the National Toy Hall of Fame always puts to a vote the top contenders for the Hall of Fame induction class of 2021. And so today they went ahead and put the top 12 entries for the class of 2021. So I want to go ahead and put the picture up there. So here are the potential contenders for the National Toy Hall of Fame. All right, so you've got the American Girl doll, which is kind of there in the center. You've got the game Battleship, Billiards, Cabbage Patch Kids, Fisher-Price Corn Popper, Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where Sean's going. Pinata, Risk. Yeah, a lot of people that played the game Risk. Sand. Is sand a toy? I mean, yeah, kids like to play in sand, but is sand a toy? Does that go in the Hall of Fame?
Is it a Hall of Famer? That's what we're asking here.
The Settlers of Catan, Toy Fire Engine, and Mahjong. So those are your contenders. So, Facebook friends, serious subject tonight. Which 3 of those go into the Hall of Fame? So again, if I'm choosing,
they're only doing 3.
only 3 move on into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm doing it, I'm going with American Girl doll. I'm putting Battleship in there, and I'm putting Fisher Price corn popper.
Well, I'm going to be biased because one of the last toys I played with,
Right.
my wife knows this story, by the way, was He-Man.
Okay, all right.
I had the full thing going on. I was in 5th grade. There was another girl in 5th grade. You know, we're talking. She goes, "Oh, you play with He-Man? Those are for little boys."
Oh.
And after that phone call, I put the stuff up in the closet.
He-Man went on the shelf?
That was it. Told my mom. My mom came in my room and was like, so He-Man holds a place.
Okay, so
Roscoe behind the camera will agree with me, correct?
All right.
Yes.
So He-Man goes
I gotta
in.
I gotta go Battleship. I could see Corn Popper though. I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, look, when you were like little kids,
Yeah.
corn popper was something that, I know my kids played with, but sand.
Was Risk in there though?
Risk was in there,
There's
yeah.
a lot of that's a big game.
Now, do you put Pinata in there? Do you put Cabbage Patch Kids? I mean, there are a lot of that was a very popular.
Because I was in that era as well. I mean, that was a big thing.
Right.
Remember how?
You couldn't find Cabbage Patch Kids around Christmas, right?
No. Oh boy, it's tough.
Billiards.
But American Girl.
American Girl doll. I think that's an automatic, at least in my book. Look, I had 2 girls. So American Girl doll and the trip up to Chicago for the American Girl restaurant, that was kind of part of what we did.
Yeah.
All right, so Wilbur's saying Risk, Battleship, and Flat Chuck.
Flat Chuck.
Well done, Wilbur. As much as we love Flat Chuck, I don't think Flat Chuck's getting in the Hall of Fame.
I see some Corn Poppers.
Yeah, Monica's got Battleship, Corn Popper, and Risk. And Jackie says, I'm with you, Scott, so she likes my selections. Kim says Cabbage Patch Doll, Fisher Price Corn Popper, and American Girl doll. Monica with the Corn Popper. Joyce said had no idea there was even a Toy Hall of Fame.
I think we did this story last year, and maybe I forgot about it. But so, do we know what's in the HOF right now?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, there's just too many.
Sure,
Too many toys. But look, if sand is a contender, sand. Come on now. Have we gotten, is it real? That's not a toy, right? It's a place you go.
Well,
it's in the backyard.
I have to see it. Like, is it just
I
basically
think
regular
it's
sand?
basically sand in a little bucket. But come on now.
The synthetic type?
I think it's just like, backyard sand or beach sand. My kids love playing in sand.
He-Man probably won't make, Masters of the Universe probably won't make it, but.
Right. Sticks and cardboard boxes, apparently, according to Nick, our director, is national.
Although I will say, having kids that are in that, the Christmas, wheelhouse, especially when they were younger, the 2-year-olds, when they were 2, that's what they were playing with on Christmas morning. Here are the toys. They love the cardboard boxes.
I wonder if wrapping paper is in the is a toy. Let's see. Teresa says no sand, no pinata. So Teresa knows what she likes. Ralph saying, look, I'm with you, Scott. So anyway, all right. So if you are interested in actually voting for this, they will choose the top 3. Let me give you the website. It's toyhalloffame.org. toyhalloffame.org. There's a ballot there. You can go ahead and put your top 3.
The announcement made when?
Announcement is coming in November.
November, okay.
Yeah, November. Right. It's November 4th. So there you go.
Kind of slim pickings in this crop,
But sand, come on now. Sand cannot get into the National Toy Hall of Fame.
I would agree.
All right. Wake up weather tomorrow?
Nice. Yeah. Windows open. Heading in.
Beautiful.
You're going to be blasting the Miami Vice soundtrack.
Wearing my
You don't know this. Yeah, Scott, on his morning walks, he has the Miami Vice soundtrack in his Walkman.
That's it. Got the white jacket, the turquoise shirt.
Baby.
Yeah, that's me, baby. All right. Thank you so much for joining us here on Facebook Live. Continue to put in your comments, and we'll see you over on 13 News at 11. Good night.